Right. Well, I think one of the things that I liked so much when I read this initially was that it felt like a very unique Law and Order. You know, it's basically the entire season, all 8 episodes lay out as just the the most intriguing Law and Order you've ever seen. And it's of course about the Menendez murders, which took place in 1989, and the ensuing courtroom dramas over almost an entire decade. They weren't convicted until 1997, and over that 8 years of time, there was a lot a lot of information came to light. The murders are so heinous, and it's not until the trial that you understand a glimpse into why these boys did what they did. And at the end of the day, it's still about the show is still about justice and about bringing order to something as horrific as the Menendez murders. So, well, Les Zoller is the lead detective on the Menendez murders, and I was drawn to him because in this whole, for myself, in this whole saga of this family, with all the lawyers involved and all the politics involved, Les Zoller is the man who is what he says he is, and his aim is really true. I mean, it's really just to try and solve the murder, and he is, as strange as it is for however you may feel about the Menendez parents, he is one of their few advocates. You know, his job is to find the murderers and bring them to justice. And so I love that it was Law and Order as well. I don't know many actors who don't want to play a detective on Law and Order, and to do it for this unique series was something I really couldn't pass up. I feel like Law and Order is one of television's surest things. We sit down and we know what we're going to get into, and we're always surprised by how the story unravels, but at the end we always feel like we've gotten somewhere, and that's a really reassuring hour of television. Now we're extending that because this case is so interesting with the Menendez murders into an eight episode series, and for me, Law and Order just meant, you hear those sounds, it always meant quality. It always meant to me great stories, great writing, great acting, and well, I wanted to soak up as much of the story as I could and research as much of Detective Zoller's identity as I could without swiping it entirely. And I think one of the things I love about this being a Law and Order show, and one of the first true stories that they've covered, is there are nuances to truth that fiction can't get at. There's just strange moments, oddities in any case, but particularly the Menendez murders, that if you wrote it, people wouldn't believe it. The whole thing, the way these boys are discovered with the unraveling of Dr. Oziel and his affair, and you just can't, like they say, you can't write this stuff. And there are moments, when they come in for the night of the murders, the detectives first scan the scene. There's a moment where we find that upstairs that there's a pair of live ferrets. And that the Menendez parents have stuffed a ferret and it's laying on top of their mantle in their bedroom. These are things that you just don't write when you're writing an episode of Law and Order. And then here they are, and they in some ways inform how strange and how human this whole story really is.